What's going on?
You almost got me. You almost caught me.
Oh man, how's your week been?
I don't know, but I'm having a bad hair day, so I made sure I wore a hat today.
I wonder if is Nick wearing his hat right now? I don't know.
I don't know. We gotta maybe Nick can drop a picture in the post to see if he's gotten a hat or not.
This is true. Maybe he can, or unless he already sent you one. Do you have one?
A hat? I have a hat.
A picture of him wearing that. Um, so let me ask you, because I know is Coach Brian here today?
I think Brian's here.
I think he's here, but oh, here it is. Facebook user. Yeah, Coach Brian's here. So he was asking about how's your Army 10 miler training coming?
Who was asking?
Coach Brian.
So here's the deal. Let's go ahead and let's prep this before this happens. I'm going for a finish. That's a win for me. A finish, right? Worried about. I'm not worried about time. If it takes me 2 days, it takes me 2 days. I just want to get finished with it, and it may or may not be running. I might be doing speed walking like with Donnell or something.
As long, oh, you know, I asked Donnell about how he's going. He said, "What? Oh, that's coming up." So I think you might be a little bit ahead of Donnell in the training piece.
I doubt it. I think he and I will probably be walking across. Oh wait, running across the finish line, yeah, together.
There you go. As long as you finish, that's the key. Yeah, it's been going. I'm feeling it. Feeling it today. Telling you. I think luckily tomorrow is I don't have a run tomorrow, which is good. I get just a lift. But anyways, hey, Silver Fox is here. She had Annette Wittenberger on her show yesterday. That was pretty awesome. It was two previous Lounge with Legends guests. So that was awesome and amazing as always. Um, the so here's the question: what's your biggest concern with this Army 10 miler?
For me,
Yeah,
honestly, getting out of my own mind that I can finish. I got to tell myself that I'll be able to finish this because, you know, back in the day, there was a point in my life where I ended up teaching at OCS. So I was an OCS instructor, and I would talk so much mad garbage, right? Smack, right?
right.
And just run laps around all the candidates. And I would run it. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life then. But now, fast forward a few years, the only thing that's in shape is my round is a shape, right? So I'm a little bit. It's more of a pair. It's more of a pear shape. So I'm really worried about physically being able to hold up and last for 10 miles. That's my number one thing. Physically being able to do it. Mentally, I think I'll be able to get there with a little bit of help every day. From you sending me some texts and poking me a little bit. But physically, I'm just hoping to hold up the tendons and bones and the ligaments and the back and everything else. It's going to be hit or miss. I'll carb load like you told me, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be ended up to the tendons, ligaments, the bones, and the joints and all that stuff, and we'll see what happens.
Nick is agreeing. Yes, round is a shape. So is pear, apparently.
Yes.
and I agree with Coach Brian here. A lot of it's in your head, but the other 30 part are in your knees. 30% in your knees.
Or the
But
lateral cartilage in your knees.
yeah, it's like I think the biggest thing for us, whether you consider this training and going through a race like the Army 10 miler or marathon or whatever, if you look at it as kind of a microcosm of life. At the beginning of the race, you're fresh, you're ready to go. You're like, yeah, just like you are in your youth. And then you get to about that 5 mile point and you're like, whoo, slowing down a little bit, get a little tired. It's like middle age. And then by the time you finish, you feel like an old man because you ran all over it. And I guess the one that did that the most other than Ironman was the Rome Marathon, because I wore racing flats and all the cobbles at the end in the last 10K. I was just destroyed. But the point of that is to not compare yourself with where you are in the stages of your event, of just have your goals, set your goal, know your marks, and continue to move forward. Um, Not necessarily setting the big, hairy, audacious goals for the race. Yours is to finish. Mine is to beat you by 30 minutes. So as long as I'm 30 minutes in front of you, I'll be fine.
How long is it taking you right now? What's your prediction for yourself? I need to know this so I know I can come in at 29 minutes. I just need to make sure that I can facilitate not meeting your expectations.
I'm training right now at 8:13, 8:15 miles. So for the race, I'll say 9-minute miles, just because it's so crowded and there's so many people out there. So, and I know Vardaman's out there, and Vardaman's training, and he's going for like 6-minute miles or something crazy. But anyways, you seem like you're calculating. Are you ready?
Time, how long I have to finish? Because I think you have to be finished within like 3 hours that he turn you off and you don't get a medal, right? Or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Are you ready to bring on the guest?
Yeah, I'm excited to see who the guest is going to be today.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Where did the go?
Wait a second. Where's the legend?
No, it's this week we just wanted to there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world, and I just really want to just have some real talk and just talk about, kind of like we started this show with the aim of talking about transformations and transitions. And as you look at all the news right now, I think as in the world, we're going through this transition of reintegrating back into society. I'm on these Disney World Facebook groups, and you hear about all these fights and breakdowns, and I'm like, is it because we were cooped up for 2 years and we're trying to now figure out, our way back in society? I think society in a way is going through their own transformation. What do you think?
100%. I mean, bottom line is, if you get in your vehicle on a daily basis and do any kind of commute, you see it every day. Yesterday on the news, or 3 days ago on WRL, they had a road rage incident, and this pickup truck was chasing this car. And I see it every day, and it's a little scary, But like you said, I think we've been kind of not knowing how to interact with a lot of other people here lately.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, Irene's here. Hey, Irene, thanks for showing up. We got Silver Fox. Obviously, we always got Nick Feltz and his doppelganger Chewbacca. But so here's a question too, though. Has the world always been this crazy, or are we just putting more of it on the news?
Obviously, I think it's a combination of both. These things right here that we have in our hand, readily available, makes it very instant. You can become famous pretty quickly, right? Or quickly.
Right.
So I think that's part of it. But I mean, I think some of it as well is, we have to relearn how to interact with folks and how we can actually are meant to survive together, not alone. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but it's just ready. I've been ready to get out here for these live events. I'm kind of a little frustrated, because during, between that, you and I've been exposed to the COVID stuff here, getting out here to these live events, and a couple of events that you went to ended up being everyone getting sick after it. I went to DC, got sick after that. I mean, there's a couple things that I guess we're just gonna have to live with and move on.
I think Joe's got a good point. A lot of people are angry, and they don't have that outlet. Like my outlet that's why I work out. That's why I like to lift heavy shit repeatedly or run, because that's my outlet. How do you find that? So what are some of the outlets that people are using out there? I mean, because right now we got the high gas prices, and we got labor shortages, and then when you finally do get out and you get to a place like Disney or freaking get on the metro or something, and everyone's there, but now you're frustrated because there's no one to take your ticket or do whatever. I think they are angry and upset. So,
I mean, well, Joe, I know part of his outlet too. he's real big into Clubhouse, so he does a lot of speaking on Clubhouse now too. I think his call sign, correct me if I'm wrong, is like Boss Hog or something, but I think so. He's always on there. I see him, and I see him on there speaking and everything else, and I think it's really, it's interesting.
Joe, put your handle on Clubhouse in the comments, so we can share that and you can get some more followers.
Yeah, make sure you also, we got to put the Silver Fox's handle in there so people get some subscribers.
True. Yeah, where's the Silver Fox? There she is. If you're on Clubhouse, put it on there. Make sure you check out her show. But there's just a lot of stuff on there right now. I mean, you read something, you were talking to me about something in the Daily Stoic earlier, yesterday's. And I think, I agree with Brian. Yeah, I got mine right here. Man's transitions can be tumultuous. And I know Brian's going through a lot of this, even without COVID, without airing his business, he's going through a lot of stuff. And it's hard and hard sometimes to find the outlets and be able to find someone just to talk to that you can confide in. That's hard. It seems more difficult these days.
100%. And the thing is too, even with social media, we deal with this daily, you and I, we go back and forth and we struggle with this every day. It's an everyday struggle. And I know this because we go banter back and forth with this. We have to tell ourselves and remind ourselves every single day of the good stuff, because what happens, we are wired, our minds are wired to what? Hunt the negative things, right? What's that? You told me before it was called negative something. What was it? We're wired toward kind of
to find a negative mindset.
But because we're animals, we're supposed to survive and thrive, and that was really what we were made to do. So we're wired to see those things, the obstacles, and and keep us safe away from those and avoid those things. But I think really a lot of things is the truth and transparency. So the thing that I like that we do with the legends, you and I are not the legends. We talk about this all the time about Lounge with Legends. We're not the legends. It's the person, our guest that comes on the show. And I think, I know the biggest thing that people have liked about our show, it's the raw and honest truth, right? We are not perfect. We make mistakes. Marty sometimes brings me in off a commercial and I'm not ready. Sometimes our guest doesn't show up. So we have to make things happen. We're not perfect. This is real life, right? No one has everything figured out 100%. If they're just showing you the good stuff, that's all you're going to see, right? Because nobody wants to watch all the negativity out here. So we're just honest and we're doing the best that we can.
And you're talking about hunting the good stuff, and I like what Brian's talking about here is there's an unfollow option, there's a delete option, and so rather than having to get in someone's face and castigate them, chastise them, you can always just choose to, I don't need this negativity in my life. I don't need this right now. I can unfollow, I can unfriend. So, I know Nick is probably wondering how long before I unfollow James, but I'm not going to, Nick. Not going to. But
Nick's loving me right now. He's got his hat, so he's happy with us right now.
But I think one of the things to focus on is, how do you tell yourself that you're made to thrive and you got this? What are some things that, I know we read the Daily Stoic, read the Bible, but what are some other things that people, that the audience, that people are out there, let us know in the comments that you're doing as we go through this, because this is, the negative begets the negative. It just keeps going. It's exactly like Joe's talking about here. Negative energy, it needs a breeding place. Social media is both a breeding place for negative, but also for positives. You can clarify which camp you're in by who you follow and where do you choose to make your comments or whatever. Every time I hear some of these people that are these business coaches and they keep, I lost my Facebook access. I'm like, well, what are you doing to do that? And I think one of the things that we teach in business in marketing is we clarify, simplify, and magnify. What if you could do that in your life? What if you could clarify your goals, your objectives, what's going to make you better, simplify so that you can figure out, okay, how do I do it? And then magnify on your successes. How, what if you took that this is the opposite, right? We're normally talking about what we did in the military and putting it in there. Now we're taking what we do in business and applying that to the personal life. How can you clarify what it is you need to succeed? How can you simplify your life? And then how can you magnify on the good stuff? And I see Nick is talking about be creative, use your imagination. Hunting the good stuff it's not easy. And I agree. You need to disconnect and refresh. And then we got Brian over here, pause, breathe, evaluate, respond. I'm sure we can turn that into an acronym somehow, but you're right. It was, we talked about this a couple episodes ago, maybe more, maybe it was last year, but one of the things I learned as a second lieutenant when I was in the infantry officer basic course was, as we had the hand mic, they said, before we speak, you need to think, push, squeeze the hand mic and then talk. A lot of times we get to these keyboard warriors and just start going off and I can't take it back. So how do you
have that same instructor at my EIB site when I got a no-go and had to go through again? And for my EIB, when I was at the radio, I accidentally could not remember what what I stood for in the military alphabet. I could not remember the letter I.
India.
Yeah, I couldn't remember that. I said Indiana. I said indigo. I said everything. And he just looked at me and said, sorry, Ranger, you're a no-go. I said airborne. And then fast forward on my next attempt to get it, right? Because I failed the first time to get my EIB. But guess what? After that failure, I got it the next time, and I actually appreciated the badge a heck of a lot more.
Right, because you were probably like a lot of people and felt like you deserved it.
At that point, after going through it twice, I won't mention his name. Sorry, Major Rice. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that negativity, but bottom line, I got a no-go, had to retake it, had to come back, had to redo it. And then, by then I think that's when I met you, Marty. So by the time I met you, I was a perfectionist and perfect.
That's how I remember it, as you told me you were. So, but pulling on that thread, what was the difference in your mindset? Was it, okay, I got to be more methodical. It's not granted. It's, I got to earn this.
So for me, I'm getting in my time machine a little bit here. So back then, when I first went into the military as a second lieutenant, I knew my father was
99.
Yeah, 1999.
That's way back. Way back.
That's like dinosaur ages.
I don't even think half these people on here were even born. I know Silver Fox wasn't even born then.
Yeah, they're all young. Joe was actually, I think Joe, if I'm not mistaken, he went in the military before I did. So I think he went in 97. Joe, I might be wrong, but that's what I remember for some reason. But for me, I knew that I needed to prove myself, not to myself, but I wanted to prove that I was capable as a leader, and I wanted the best schools, the best training, so I could be the best platoon leader. That's really what it came down to. So I could actually give value to my platoon or to my company at that point. And for us back then, there was no conflicts. I was coming out of it was after Gulf War and in between prior to 9/11. So there was really no conflicts going on. So really, it was really about getting the training and make sure that you're ready to answer the call when needed. So I needed to make sure that I was the best trained that I could be, so I could be the best leader for my soldiers. That's really what it was about for me. Now, at the end of the day, the next time it was humbling because I had to go back and face my platoon after I got a no-go, right? So I had to go back there and say, hey, look, I failed. I wasn't able to get the EIB the first time around. But then the next time, you know what? They weren't hard on me. They were just like, sir, you got this. Next time you got it. And, next time I was able to get through and get my EIB. So it was just more appreciative that way. And really, it was a humbling experience, though, because up until that point, to be honest, I was used to, in the military, I was used to succeeding in everything I did, straight through, IOBC, straight through Ranger School, straight through all those things. So that was the first time I actually experienced failure in the military.
Yeah. Now I think, but those humbling experiences, especially when you want something so bad. Those are lessons that we shouldn't just jettison. It was the same for me. I know James makes fun of me a lot because it took me 2 times to get through Ranger School.
How many?
Twice. First time I got hurt, but it was because I'd wanted it so bad that I overtrained. That's how I broke my foot. And I was silly enough to think that, if you're not familiar with Ranger School, there's a 16-mile road march out to Derby phase. And I did that on a broken foot with the M60 machine gun, thinking that I was going to be able to make it through the next 60 days. But luckily, the RIs were smarter than I was at the time and pulled me out. So I had to go back and say I didn't get my tab. And so that was when, going back the next time, it's like, well, that ain't happening again. So, but those are those lessons. And I think coming out of COVID, some of those lessons, or even coming out of COVID, back into the real world, if you will, or getting out of the military and going back into the real world, there's similar lessons about what do you want? What are we trying to do? And I know, like right now with COVID, people want to work from home. And I'm one of the weirdos that just want to get back into an office, get back around people like you, right? So I don't know. I don't know what the future looks like. What is the future of the workplace for people right now?
Well, I mean, like a lot of people are enjoying the Zoom, remote work. They enjoy that, and we leverage the remote, Zoom. That's how we're on this call right now, or on this podcast right now, right? That's how we're able to do this. But at the same time, we do thrive in the presence of others. So I think that, I think it's a safe place. I don't know, being transparent with you, for 2 years, I sat at home, didn't want to leave the house, right? We had this discussion before. I was like the worst real estate agent you ever met because I never wanted to show homes because I never wanted to leave my house. But I was dealing with my own stuff here in my own mind, and I was kind of trapped by my own mind. It wasn't physically being trapped, but I really did not want to be around people. And that's kind of the struggle. That's what I think a lot of us, I know your mindset too. We leave the military, and a lot of those trust issues come, our security issues come, our anxiety comes out, our depression comes out, our anger comes out, all those things come out. And for me, it was, hey, let me just turn off. Gosh, looking back, I wish I could have those 2 years back right now, right?
Right.
So,
no, I agree. Joe it gave us a new playbook. This new playbook it was the virtual. Now it's a hybrid in a lot of places. But, I love the face-to-face. Nick loves working from home.
He likes to wear Lounge with Legends hats. That's why he likes to work from home.
I think, there's this hybrid of going back and forth, but finding the balance. I like working from home and doing everything from here because I can pick up the kids. I can take care of the littles, and not having to rush and deal with, traffic and all that. Now I can turn my energy towards making meals, so I can hopefully lose all this fat. Then I can look svelte like you one day.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's it. You just hit a great point that a lot of people don't realize. There is those, as a parent, right? Oh my, what he said, but my commute from my oh gosh, oh man. But of course, take a Phelps to get me off my train of thought. But when it comes to you, that's one fact that a lot of people don't realize too. A lot of times we label folks and put them in a category thinking that they have to be this or nothing. Well, the folks that are probably working remote from home, they probably are taking care of the family, taking care of the kids at home, taking care of those things, and really being busy. And, a lot of times, I don't know how you find it. I find it harder to work at home. I actually prefer to go out of the house and not to work from the house because I feel like I get more accomplished out away from my house. So anyway,
it goes back to the balance, having those clear definitions. Like, my work day is definitely shorter than it was in the military, where I truly did work from 8 to faint, but it's increased my work-life balance.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's going to increase my longevity, but it's doing something. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, some people are trying to do 4-hour work weeks, 4-day work weeks. I think, it goes back to what Joe said. It goes back to what he said right here. It gave us a new playbook. And I think for a lot of us, we are trying to figure this out, whether you're an employer, whether you're an employee, an entrepreneur, we're all trying to figure this out. And it's causing a lot of stress. And I think it goes back to this, the way we started this is the heck's going on with Disney and all these places. We're pent up and we're trying to reintegrate because I can't be a keyboard warrior. I actually have to interact with people. Can't do it behind a Zoom call. But we got Vardaman here. So this is David Vardaman. He's the one I was telling you during Army 10 miler. He's going to run a 6:30 mile. That's what he's looking for. And he's declared he's going to beat us by an hour, I think is what he said. But is that right?
Well, if he's maybe beat you by an hour, beat me by an hour and 45 minutes. That's what I'm thinking. But it's all good. Yeah. Hey, welcome, David. Thanks for checking us out today. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, it's, and this is something here, people work differently. It's something we've learned. We did this. I mean, we knew this going into COVID. I remember we spent like an entire week just understanding, Briggs-Meyer test and all these other things and learning about EQ and all that. And so how do we process information? How do we do all this? But then COVID showed something different of how do we work from home? How do we interact? Because I remember like when it first happened, when I was in my internship, probably, I can't say first, but we're probably about 2 months into COVID. And I remember seeing people like in their bed taking a Zoom call. I'm like, I'm an intern, and I'm like, we're still at work, right? I mean, this is just kind of weird. So, but anyways, David's responding. He's training for the Army 10 miler. It's going to kill him, maybe. But if you guys aren't tracking, James, myself, David Vardaman, Donnell Johns, and some others, we're running the Army 10 miler. The name of our team is Straight Outta Motrin. So you can support us by cheering us on. Oh, fun fact! If you're watching this from Facebook, you can now send us stars to help us grow the show and run some, get some marketing budget here. So check that out.
Yeah, but stars. That Nick's got a great point there. Some jobs for companies, it makes sense. It saves them money to actually make those positions remote. It saves on a commute. I think I was watching the news last night. They talked about gas actually going down a little bit, and they attribute that to people spending less money at the pump. So that actually helped lower the price. So I think that in some jobs, I think it's great, but I think the key with a remote job is you got to have the discipline to hold yourself accountable. And what I learned in the real estate industry for those 2 years, that wasn't the place that I could do. I couldn't do that for myself. I just could not do it. I did not have the discipline. I did not have the drive at the time. And to be honest, at that point, we talk about this all the time with our coach, Donald Miller. I was the victim. I was playing that victim character in my story. And I allowed that to take place for several years. And, the thing about being a victim, if you allow yourself to keep that mindset, to stay in that role, you will stay there. And that's what you and I struggled with before, and that's why it's so important now more than ever to get away from those energy vampires and those victims.
Absolutely. And but you gotta have the wherewithal to identify who is an energy vampire.
Yes.
And be honest and say, am I an energy vampire?
Yeah.
Am I the one? I'm calling it critiquing, but maybe I'm the energy vampire because I'm kicking over everyone's sandcastles. And where's that balance? So I don't know. It's one of those things. Oh, we got comments coming in about the Army 10 miler. Irene says she's going to register. Hopefully those slots open up. They mentioned, they were teasing, they're going to open up some slots for the Army 10 miler here in Washington, D.C. in August. So if so, Irene, if you get in, join our team, and we'll be there, and you'll see David Fardeman's smiley face. But
if for some reason she's not able to join in, I have a slot that I'd be willing to auction off to the lowest bidder. I have one running slot on our team, and you could just be James Phelps for the day.
No, Irene, don't fall for it. It's a trap.
Please do.
Hey, Jason Crystallitis is here. You're right. It's not holding. It's more than holding yourself accountable. It's holding everybody accountable. But then also knowing the difference between holding people accountable and, again, micromanaging. So there's that balance. Yes, 12 and a half.
Gary Vaynerchuk mentions this in his book. I use this book. I tabbed it. This is the one I tabbed because you gave me some, told me how to do that. But it's so important that you have that accountability and can have that kind candor to your employees.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been in a position in the past where I did not hold my employees accountable, and guess what happened to that business?
It went to, yeah.
It did
No, you're right. You're right. No, absolutely, brother. I think, we can talk about this all the day. I mean, what keeps you motivated? If we have to go through, what if we went through another COVID, like 2020 style, fighting for toilet paper? Would we be ready? Would you be willing to do that? I don't know.
Well, for me, I mean, the biggest thing that I wish I would have connected a year ahead with you, right? I wish we would connected a year ahead prior, set the conditions for myself to start reading again during that time frame. Because I mean, there was a lot of opportunities there where where I could have been reading and learning instead of just sitting around wasting time on Netflix, wasting time on what's the other thing that I would play? Fortnite. Yes, I'm a kid still. I'd waste hours and hours of time on that, waste so much mind power on it, and not get anything accomplished. So looking back on it, that's one thing I wish I would have done differently. Less Fortnite, less TV, less Netflix, and more reading.
I think, but I've been harping on people reading for a while. I think, Jason Crystallitis can attest to that. I used to routinely say, "Have you read this book?" What are you talking about? But so I basically gave him the Cliff Notes version of all the books that I was reading while we were all over Europe. But to the point here, strong organizational leadership to run these hybrid organizations, and that's key. Being able to hold people accountable, but again, setting realistic goals. It's going to be. I think that's what's going on in the world right now, man. It's just I'm seeing all this stuff on the news, and I'm like, you would think we're going to hell in a handbasket. But again, the question is that just the news, or is it really that bad?
Well, I think you mentioned at the beginning, at the top of the hour when we started the show, you talked about the Daily Stoic. And I think it goes back to that. I think what it's going to take, and even what Jason was talking about with leadership, I think it's going to take some strong men and women that are leaders, right? And to say something, right? Because what we're all guilty of at sometimes is sitting back and not doing anything. And sometimes when you sit back and not do anything, you're not affecting any change either. So it's not helping. So I think it's going to take some strong leadership from everyone and to get this thing back in the right direction. I'm not a firm believer. I read my Bible. I'm not a firm believer that we're any worse off than we were, honestly, 50 years ago when it comes to the coming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
However, I do think that we are now more selfish than we were, 50 years ago.
Selfish, self-absorbed. Yeah. And I agree. The news only gives us a small glimpse because I remember being in Europe and seeing it firsthand where my mom's like, "Oh my God, it's crazy." I'm like, wait, where? I'm looking out the door. I'm not seeing this. But yeah, there. Go ahead.
I mean, even in that defense of that, there's some things that we did in our past in our country that are very embarrassing. And
Right.
we didn't have the strong leaders to stand up at the time to condemn the things that we were doing back then. So, I mean, just think about those kind of things, So I don't think we're any worse than we were in the past. I think you said it really. We just have more information readily available to digest and consume. So we might make it worse than it was. Because you all remember the story when your parents, said, "I used to not have to lock the front door."
Right.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Depends where you live. I mean, we didn't lock the front door of my dad's place. I mean, growing up in Texas, we didn't lock the truck, and people had, hunting rifles and shotguns in the back of the truck. So it was different. We can't do that now. And that was, oh, by the way, that was in the school parking lot. But it depends where you're at. I remember we were going duck hunting, and before we met up at this is just a few years ago, we met up at a McDonald's to grab some breakfast, and we're changing out the chokes on the shotguns.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do that in DC. Not happening, right? But to David's question, do you think we can get through another COVID-19 situation? I think it would be different. I think it would be a lot different because people are going to, I think the whole mask situation and the shots, it'd be totally different because people are like, heck no, I'm never going to wear a mask again. I'm not doing this. And so I think it would be different. Do we get through it? Yes, but very ugly.
I mean, we're primates. We're designed to survive. So we will get through it. Like you said, I think it'll be a different kind of experience. Because do I ever see us ever being able to shut down entire countries or the world and not leave your house? I don't really see that ever happening again in this situation. But I guarantee you, back when they had the first flu, situation, they probably said this will never happen again. So who knows? We'll survive. We'll survive.
Interesting comment here with Nick. There's employees are fighting for their worth more, but at the same time, they're also overvaluing themselves. And I think it's kind of a supply and demand issue in some regards because, well, you need me. I'm seeing all these people that aren't working and stuff, and I'm wondering, what are they doing for money? I don't know.
Speaking of that, I am buying a ticket for Friday, by the way. I want to speak this into existence so it's out there, and I want to speak the favor. I'm going to buy a ticket for that $1 billion lottery.
There you go.
So I want to get that out there and the energy and all that stuff. So, but I mean, I think Nick's got a great point. Some people, maybe we do value ourselves too much, but I think that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed, if you don't like yourself, who's going to like you? So I think there's some of that, but at the end of the day, I think it goes back to having some empathy for others. But the problem with empathy is, unless you're truly exactly like that individual, it's very difficult to understand where they're coming from. I can never tell anybody what it's like to be. How tall are you, Marty?
5'8".
5'8", Hispanic from Texas. I'll never be able to tell you that. But if you want to know how 72 inches of twisted steel and sex appeal, James Phelps, half Korean, half Caucasian from Louisville, Kentucky, I can tell you how that life is. But I can't tell you how Marty's life was. Anyway.
No, but there's the sympathy and empathy. But what you can tell is shared experiences from similar backgrounds. This is what it was like going in the military. As a lieutenant, this is what it was like going as a minority. This is what it was like, etc. So there is that balance. You may not know exactly what where I'm coming from in some regards and vice versa, but close enough where I can go, I get it. I had a similar thing, and you see that a lot, especially as we're talking to people, especially with veterans, because most of us have had very similar experiences where you're like, no, dude, I get what you're saying. And I had this one time at band camp, kind of things, and so we can continue to play on that. But hey, real quick, I want to do a plug for, we've got some classes coming up to help people. The first one is, if you know any veteran entrepreneurs, every month at go.jtf214.com, we do our free monthly classes. And we've had a few people here that I know Irene was here in one of our classes. And our next one is August 20th. How to recession proof your business. And so that one's free. So if you know anybody who's an entrepreneur or small business owner, we'll be teaching that class in August.
August the 25th.
That's what I said, the 25th. And then additionally, we've had so many people have just loved our course, our free monthly training, that James and I have actually stood up our Facebook team room, JTF 214 team room, where every single month we will do 2 sessions where we help people clarify their message. And that's the first one is on August 4th, how to revamp your tagline and elevator pitch. And I know there's a lot of pitch competitions coming up. People are trying to get that ready. People are trying to look for funds. And so that's what we're going to do that. And we do the first one on August 4th. And then 2 weeks later, we'll work hand in hand with you to help you create your ultimate elevator pitch. And then every month we're delivering something new in addition to our free trainings. You can get 2 months or 2 sessions with us, one for free and then one for right now $79 a month. The price goes up to $97 a month. So if you're doing those, check them out. Appreciate it. But sorry about that. I just needed to plug that real quick. And then, as always, like and subscribe our channel, please. Help us get the word out.
That was a great plug. Yeah, but on a serious note, we want to help. Okay, if you're here to help, there is no, it's free if you use the link. It's free to use, provided at no cost. It's not free, it's provided at no cost, because there is value, tremendous value in everything there when it comes to the actual monthly courses. Now, if you want access to us in the team room, that's going to be exciting. There's some great things that Marty just mentioned that we're going to be able to help with your business, or even if your mindset needs some help with that, we can help you with that as well. Anything else that you want to talk about with Lounge of Legends? What's going on with Lounge of Legends? What are we doing? What's our plan?
So we're still working on some stuff. We're still working on Lunch with Legends. And so that's in the works right now. We're working on some stuff right now with Story Brand so that we can continue to deliver more. So it's kind of a bringing together some JTF 214 and Lounge with Legends, because we're working on the forum. And then you're in Bunker Labs. What's going on with Bunker Labs down in Raleigh right now?
Yeah, so today we're actually doing a VR masterclass, the importance of small business record keeping. So right after Lounge with Legends, I'll be logging on with Bunker Labs and going through a masterclass with them. I'm a part of the 22 Bravo cohort. Is it cohort or cohort? How do you say it?
Cohort.
Yeah, cohort. So I'll be involved in that here in Raleigh, Durham area. It's a great organization to get involved with. It's a non-judgmental environment with people that want to help. Help veterans, military spouses, military folks. You can still be in active duty. Help you with your small business. Get this thing started and get you pointed in the right direction. Because it's key to have great mentors along the journey. Because not to be a negative or anything, but you're going to have some folks out here that you're going to have to figure out that are not good mentors, because they're going to give you some bad knowledge and bad advice and steer you down the wrong path. Thanks, Irene. I appreciate it. I was excited. Marty's the one to introduce me to Bunker Labs and the team there. We've kind of Marty's actually, he's humble. He's actually been a part of their master class and taught a class, right? You taught a class for him, right?
I've probably taught about 5 times now.
Well, they haven't asked me to teach yet, so I guess I need to catch up with you. But no, on a serious note, it's been great to be surrounded by like-minded individuals. Both the military spouses, the military veterans, and that community military supporters. I did a post the other day, because yesterday, what was it, the 25th or 24th? It was National Hire a Veteran Day or something. Wasn't that Monday or something?
Yeah, the 25th.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times people do it now because it's a public, it's a popular, right? So they'll say, "Hey, I help veterans." Well, at the end of the day, do you? That's my real question to you. Do you really help veterans? Are you really about providing a veteran or a veteran spouse with an opportunity to survive and thrive? That's my question. And it's not about words; it's about the deeds.
Yeah.
So if you're about that, I'm 100% want to support you. Speaking of that, they also had July the 16th or 17th, the National Suicide Hotline changed over to 988?
988, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a veteran and you're struggling, right, dial 988, hit the number 1, and that's specifically for veterans to get some assistance during a crisis. You matter. You served your country, you sacrificed, you deserve to be here with us. I'm tired of attending funerals. I'm tired of it. We're going to have to attend them anyway. I'd rather it be not from a self-inflicted injury or something. Unfortunately, I think you're dealing with this here recently, Marty. So yeah.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of friends recently. This has been a rough year so far.
Yeah.
And that's why we started the show, so we could talk about transitions, transformations, hopefully show some light that, there is light at the other side of the tunnel. It's not and it's not a train coming down the tracks to run you over. There are people out there that have gone through this and have gone through what you're going through. And so there's opportunities to reach out and just talk to somebody. Would rather spend 15 minutes talking to you rather than 15 minutes listening to a eulogy at your funeral. And so, and that was the whole point of today, was just talking about what's going on in the world and how's it affecting our psyche? How's it affecting us, whether you're still in the military, you've transitioned, because there's a lot of brain trash, mind trash that can get in your head. And then how do you deal with it? What are some of those positive ways to deal with it? I know it's kind of depressing. I was at the VA yesterday, and it's kind of depressing when you go there because you're like, oh my God, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Does anyone else feel that way? You go to the VA to get your shots or whatever. You're just kind of like, I don't know. I was in a funk after I left.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks are, in that similar situation. I don't know necessarily if it's the VA's fault with that. I just think, when I get around folks, I feed off that energy, and a lot of times, to be honest, there's just not a lot of positive energy there, but they're working on it. So I'm not going to be, poke at them or anything like that. I appreciate everyone that's helping when we go to those locations. But to be honest too, I think some of that is me personally. And when I go there, I'm admitting to them all these ailments that I'm having and all these disabilities that I'm dealing with. And I think that's kind of the reason too, for me personally, why when I go there, I'm not in the best mindset. So
it's a fair point, because you're having to admit, that you're broken and you need help. And so it's humbling, but
right.
We're already in August.
Yeah.
Next week is August. That's crazy. We've got a lot of great guests coming on in August. We have Philip next week. We have Lori the week after. Then we're bringing on the best of Go Army Beat Navy coming up. We have Liz Dis coming up. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to August. We got a pretty strong lineup. And to close out the month, I think we got Blake Hogan.
Blake.
Okay. So looking forward to it. And thanks everyone for dialing in. Again, if you're on Facebook, feel free to shoot some of them stars over to us. appreciate it. That was one of the new things. James told me to get off.
Yeah, I saw Nick put a question in there about in-person guests and coming soon. So part of that lunch and learn with Marty was talking about, absolutely. So that's in the works. We're gonna create this and be able to incorporate it with our lunch and learn sessions too. We're trying to close the loop on a couple more sponsors. If anybody's interested in sponsoring a veteran, what would you call that? A leadership / what would you call it, Marty?
Basically, like it's a TED Talk lunch and learn.
Yeah.
To use David Vardaman's terms, it's a fireside chat with some true legends. Not that Nick is not a legend. Obviously he is. He's wearing the hat, but and the hats are for sale, by the way. But yeah, so an opportunity to meet with in a very limited, in a very small group. We're limiting the group to 50 people. You have lunch. You get to have watch somebody who's maybe a big author, like a General McChrystal, or we have maybe a Matt Eversman, something like that. We've got our short list, but we're looking for sponsors so we can make it happen, and it'll be here. The first ones will be here in DC at the Army Navy Club. So an opportunity to just get up close and personal and ask those questions. So yes, in-person guests coming soon, and it'll be filmed as we're working all this at the Army Navy Club. But we do need sponsors right now.
Yeah, and then we do want to say thanks to our LinkedIn accounts are growing as we speak. We just started growing those recently, actually within the last month and a half. And then our YouTube, thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel, Lounge with Legends. Thank you so much for your support there. And then also on Facebook, thank you so much. We have a lot of things to be thankful and grateful for. Obviously, the legends that come on our show. Thank goodness Marty and I don't have to be the two on here every day, because I don't know if we run out of things to talk about, but I guarantee you it wouldn't be as legendary as having the guests on that we have coming ahead here shortly. If you know any guests that you would like to see on our show, please put them in the comments. We can reach out, have our folks reach out to their folks, get them on here. We want to create a platform for like-minded individuals to share their success post. And it doesn't have to be just post-military. If you know somebody that's still serving, put their name in the chat. Let's get them and help us connect them and get them on the show. And I think it's almost time to give David Vardaman back on the show for part 2 soon.
I think so. I want to see what David's new freedom means is.
Exactly.
So, hey, thanks for everyone tuning in, and thanks for being legends, every single one of you out there. And just know that if you are in a dark place, you are suffering, there's someone there for you. Let us know, and we can definitely help, because we're tired of losing friends. So let us know. And with that, I think we're out. What do you say, James?
I say thanks to everyone joining us today. See you next week.
See you next week. I'm looking forward to next week. It's going to be a good episode. Thanks. Be legendary.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.